welcome back to Jamieson's Repair Shop. Now we're on part 2 of this driver side torque box on the front driver side torque box repairs. Last video, if you didn't watch it, that's where I just exposed the damage that was done by the rust, which I mentioned in it, I believe in there, how pleased I am that it is minimal amount of rust. You'll hear my air dryer kick in there, that's what that sound is. And it's minus 28 out today, degrees Celsius, so you may hear the furnace kick in too. So I can't do much about that. I have to keep it warm in here or I won't be out here. So anyway, I'll just show you what I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to start by taking a little pattern. You probably can't see it, but I'll bring you in where you can. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little pattern of where the rusted spot is on the 14 gauge on the bottom of the torque box. Now, I've always been saying 14 gauge and I've only just been estimating, but my brother-in-law gave me a nice little handy sheet metal gauge tool for Christmas. Just a fun little thing. He noticed watching my videos that I didn't have a real good way of measuring it without using the micrometers. So, or the calipers rather, not micrometers, but the calipers. So yeah, thanks Dan, that works well. And it is, I measured it on here and it is 14 gauge on that bottom torque box. So officially 14 gauge. So I'm going to grab a piece of 14 gauge, and the piece that came out of here, ironically enough, is 14 gauge. And it's a nice piece of steel, it is galvanized. So I'm going to grind the galvanizing off of it where I have to weld it, and I'm going to use it in that spot because it's a nice piece of steel. I'll wear a mask when I'm welding, but I also will grind off the galvanizing off the steel because it's just going to be galvanized to galvanized and with a weld seam in it. So let's get that done, and then we'll continue on building with the 18 gauge, the top part of the torque box. Down in here, so I've got my framing square. So I think, let me take that off. So I see it's pretty rusty. I'm going to cut it right here, and it's thin. I can see all these spots right here. I hope you can see that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to estimate in that far, but I want it to come on an angle out to here. I got a couple of pits in it, but it's solid. So what I'm going to do, mark that off like that, and then I'm just going to run it straight in. I'm going to freehand that in straight. So that's the size of piece I'm going to take out, and that gets me back to good ground. It gets rid of all this rusty stuff. So when I cut this out, I'll cut it out with a grinder, and when I cut it out, I'll use this as a template. I'll make it a little bit oversized, and I'll put the hole in it and everything before I put it back in. So anyway, that's what I plan to do. So I'll get the mask on and some safety glasses, and I'll get the zip cut, and we'll cut this piece out the best we can. I'll probably have to go up underneath. Yeah, I'm going to have to go up underneath to get this back line. That's okay, we can do her. Alright, I got that piece of tin cut, and I marked off where the hole is, and I put a cross hair on the hole. You probably can't see it. So I'm going to start with a pilot hole, and I'm going to go with this big step drill, and right to the last step is where it comes to. So let's get this done. Well, this has turned out to be a bit more of a struggle than I wanted it to be. I like the cordless tools. This one works really good for the spot welds and stuff, but when you get something this big on it, it really drains the battery quick. So I switched over to the corded, and we'll finish this hole up. This bit's got a dull spot in it, so I end up burning up a lot of power trying to get it through here. All right. There we go. Good. Alright, I think that should do it. A little bit of grinding, and I got the zinc taken off it, or the galvanizing. Let's see if we can get this held in place enough we can weld it. Alright, I'll get the welder set up and we'll get that welded in. All right, that ended quick. Ran out of welding wire. I knew I was gonna, there was something I was supposed to redo about a month ago, was to order a new roll of welding wire. And when I went to do it, I get it on Amazon, and when I went to get some, they were out of stock, currently unavailable, and I forgot about it. But we do have some at work. Canadian Tire carries it. It's 0.025 wire instead of 0.023. It'll do. It's a little heavier than I would like, but I can manage it. I'll go check also to see if I can get the same wire I had on Amazon. So this is the stuff that I was using, and went through a whole great big 10-pounder. And this stuff actually works really nice. But I believe the price has gone up on it as well. Not only is it wasn't available, the price has gone up quite a bit. And I can get a roll of the Lincoln stuff, the 025 wire from Lincoln that worked for $65 a roll. That's an 11-pound roll too. So I'm gonna do that, I think. But for now, this little project's on hold. But it's looking good. You can see really distinctly when you grind it where you get rid of the galvanizing. Like I said, there's nothing wrong using galvanized steel as long as you take precautions. Grind off the old galvanizing and also wear a mask. Alright, I give her a clean up. Hit her with some rust converter. Then I get the new wire. I can weld that piece in and continue on. There, we got some welding wire in the machine. And now it's time to finish this patch up. Let's get at her. There she is. I got her welded in. That wire works really nice. I was getting hungry listening to the sound of the bacon sizzle. Anyway, now that I've got that in there, I've got to start filling in this. So I think what I'm going to do is put a piece in there first. I'll grind the welds off where this comes down and tips out where it's broke. I'll grind it so it fits flush. So I touched up a couple of holes there. I don't want anything in the way. So let me do that, and I got to dress up this brace right here. Get that old metal off it, and the same with this one. Then I'm going to put a piece in to bring it all the way over to here, and then I'll build this section separately. There we go. All coated up with some cold zinc compound. I think I'm going to give it a coat of paint while I'm here inside. Why not? Went ahead and did that frame rail, and when I was doing it, I didn't realize, I thought it was a piece of the frame rail the way it was built. But it's got a rust spot right there. So I'm going to have to put a little piece in that because this floor comes out and attaches to it. And I think, quite sure, that's about right where the, over a little closer, that's right about where the throttle pedal goes. So I'm going to put a piece in there. I almost missed it. Alright, let me get a little paint and I'll paint that up and let it dry, and then I'll tackle that little section there. And I notice it's not as clean as I like it in there either, so I'm going to give it a little bit better cleaning, even though I primed it already. There she is. Put a little high build truck body paint in there. Should be good. I'll do it now while I can. Yeah, it looks good. There we go. Put a quick patch in there. I like to do them when I see them. Those ones like that, especially if I'm coming by right away and covering up that area, because I'll forget. And then, you know what, I'll go to screw in the throttle pedal, and there'll be nothing there to screw into other than the top plate. So now there's going to be double layer, and I'm pretty sure that's where that's screwed into. If not, doesn't matter, it needs to be fixed, so it's done. Looking pretty good. I gave another coat of red oxide. Alright, now I got a piece of steel bent. I decided I had a piece that was 20 inches wide already, and I got a little bit of a gap there, but I'll have to fill that in. So what I'm going to do, I have to weld it. No matter how I do it, I was going to weld it down there, but I decided since I had that nice long piece, I would make one continuous piece there, and then I'll get a piece of new steel for up in here, and I'll weld that seam both sides and grind them. Maybe not grind the back side, but grind the front. But I'll weld that seam both sides. How much grinding I do will be how I feel. And I clecoed. I drilled and clecoed it. I clamped it down, drilled and clecoed it, so they won't make the same mistake as I did over there, where I got too high off the bottom of that torque box. So the bottom of this lip is a little too long. That's fine. A little too long is better than too short. It's good on that side. I can weld it in back into the floor panel there. So once I get a piece cut here and welded in, I'll put those beads in. Well, I got it piece welded on and ground down, welded on both sides and ground on both sides. So now I got to mark off where those beads go, like those ones over there. And I have to remember to mark the depth of that rectangular hole, put it in. I marked the inside, but I need to transfer it out. So let's get on that. There we go, all painted up. This is the inside for the torque box, so that'll be going down inside, so it'll be nice and rust proofed. Beads are in it, and yeah, I'll put her in place. Whoops, she fell down there. A little bit of a heat warpage on it, but it's a floorboard. I'll be okay. Oh, there she is. The hole cut where it's supposed to be. That fits that side there, and that fits this side there, and I didn't put that little piece in. I'm going to have to do that, and then I have to trim the top off. But it's not ready to go in yet. Oh yeah, and I got to trim a little bit off the lower lip there. But still, even then, it won't be ready to go in yet because I'll be building this floor pan. And it's easier for me to fix all this stuff before I put this torque box top on. And I think George was talking about that in the video when I did the other one about the procedure of putting together. I think he was talking about the layers of them, but also he made me think, well, if I'm doing this, I have the choice in how I put together. And since I do know I'm putting that in, it's much easier to wait to put this piece on after I rebuild all this. And I think that's what I'm going to do. And George, thanks for the idea. Maybe you didn't mean it that way, but I took it that way. And it was a good bit of advice. So this one I'll just leave clecoed in for now. I'll do those trims that I was talking about. I'll leave it clecoed in. And then now I know I have a patch panel built for that hole. There's a lot of spot weld holes, or plug weld holes that need to go in yet. So I'll have to make sure I remember to do that. But now I can go ahead and rebuild this whole area with the new floor pan. And then, with all that said, Nick was talking about taking the pedestals out, the seat pedestals, and I'm going to do that. Well, and I said, well, there's a lot of spot welds. Well, all these spot welds on both sides aren't even hooked to anything because it's all rusted out. So it's just the spot welds here, over the hump, and on the other side. So that shouldn't be too terribly bad. Now going back in, it's you know, punching them out and then welding them back in, and that's no big deal. We'll have a good floor. So with that said, that'll be the end of this video. And the next one, I'll start patching up this part here and building the floor pan. So that's it, guys. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.